What's up, everyone? All right, well, I did not accomplish my mission today of trading less. In fact, today I traded more than I think I've traded on any other day in my career. I traded 20 different stocks. I traded over 650,000 shares, and I only have $1,600 to show for it. The problem today was that within the first 2 minutes, I was already down over $1,000. I went red right away. And between 9:30 and 10 a.m., I dug myself a hole of almost $9,000. And I was like, all right, well, my cutoff on my account right now is 10,000. And so I said, all right, well, this isn't good, but if I can cut the loss in half and there's a couple of good quality opportunities, I'm gonna do it. And I did it. I cut the loss in half. And then I said, well, okay, now I'm down 4,500. Can I cut the loss in half again? And I did. And by the end of the day, I was up $1,600. I think today, this continues to be a very crazy market, extremely volatile. We saw more circuit breaker halts today than possibly any other day. It was just crazy. Right out of the gates, we had a couple of stocks squeeze up really quickly. Some of them even halting going up and then turn around and halt coming right back down. And so it moved up and then came way back down. That move back down gave a couple bottom bounces off the lows. Some of those were nice, others weren't as clean. And then at a certain point, I just switched gears and said, you know what? I'm just gonna trade the S&P 500 again. So I traded SPXL, SPXS, the VIX, and I traded gold, and I made back my losses. So the small cap market, for me today, wasn't as good and wasn't as easy. I just had a couple of big losses. The patterns that I typically would use, like the 1 minute pullback and things like that, weren't resolving as well. And we were seeing false breakouts and then big flashes to the downside. Spreads were big, and it just wasn't an easy day. So I never really got myself that upset today. And I think that's because I pretty much started the day red and was red the whole day. So I was just like, well, today's obviously going to be a red day. So if I can cut the loss in half, I guess that's going to be good. It's better than closing the day down 9,000. But the challenge, of course, and I do have my cutoff, which is set high right now because the markets have been so volatile. The way I trade, it's not impossible to lose $9,000 and then to make it all back within the course of a few hours. I did it today, and I've done it several other days in the last month. So I have my max loss spread out a little bit further from where it would be during kind of ordinary markets, which would usually be at 5,000. And so, if I had on that last trade, instead of it be a winner, I'd lost another 1,000 and I was below 10 grand, that would have been it. And I would have been like, well, all right, that's a big red day. And I would have just walked away. I wouldn't have been as frustrated. I get angry when I hit my daily goal and then give it back. That's when I get so frustrated with myself. Because I had the daily goal, I took it for granted, I didn't appreciate it, and then it was gone. When I just go right into the red right away, it's a very different mindset for me. So I was able to dig myself out of the hole today, and more or less, I'll see where everything sits. I'll import my trades probably tomorrow into TraderView for this week and see where I sit on the week. Great day on Monday. Tuesday was terrible. Yesterday was choppy. And today wasn't a lot better. So when it's all said and done with ECN fees and commissions, I don't have a lot to show for it, but sometimes it is just about survive till you thrive. Keep your head above water. And right now I'm treading water, and maybe it wouldn't be as stressful if I wasn't doing it with such big share size and having such big P&L swings. So maybe tomorrow for Friday, I should ease off the throttle there, bring down the share size. I'm green on the week. Let's just try to finish this week in one piece and hope the market stabilizes a little bit tomorrow or on Monday. I think that's probably going to be the smart thing to do. It's hard. It can be hard to throttle myself back when I see what I would typically consider a good quality setup. But in this market, you kind of have to expect that, a stock is going to come and hit you behind the knees with a baseball bat. You think it looks good, and all of a sudden, oh my God, where'd that come from? I'm down 50 cents a share. This is unbelievable. And that keeps happening. So expect the unexpected during this market and size accordingly. And I'm going to try to take my own advice and do that tomorrow. And then if I can get green in the first 30 minutes through some good trading, some good risk management, and some real precision on my entries and exits, then I'm going to stop at like 10 a.m., 10:30, and just be done for the day and not have to sit in this chair until 4 p.m., which is exactly what I did today. Was it worth it today? The P&L speaks for itself. I guess so. I made back what I lost, but wasn't able to get anything else done. So, that's one of those tough things with trading. If you can just get green and then walk away, you're doing something most traders struggle to do. So try to get green and then respect it, respect the market, walk away with that money in your pocket. All right, so that's it for me. I'll see you guys first thing tomorrow morning. All right, everyone, so we're going to do our recap for today.
VRIO, Dario
hang on one second.
Says selling shareholders to...
So that's the news feed for Benzinga. So, boy, today, what a day. I traded 20 different stocks and or ETFs. And after all that, I'm going to finish the day up $1,601.11. The problem today, and it's kind of interesting because today I feel a lot less, I feel very relaxed. I don't feel stressed really at all. And it's because I never went green until the very end of the day. Now, that's not entirely true because I did take one trade pre-market on BMRA. So BMRA was the first stock that I traded this morning, and I jumped into it at 9:28 or not, like 9:29, right before the bell for the break of 1750 right here. So I got in there like as the bell was ringing, or just seconds before the bell rang. And on that trade, I jumped in with 500 shares. And as soon as it broke 1750 and then 18 and then up to 1850, I took profit. So I made $493 on my very first trade on BMRA, which overall was not bad. And then I got back in it right as the bell was ringing, like right here. It pulled back for just a second and I bought it thinking that it was going to break over $20 and rip. And I stopped out down here for a $1,500 loss. So basically I started the day in the first minute down $1,000. So I was red. And as you can see, we did get a red to green move on BMRA. The only problem with it was the spreads were big and it was not very easy to trade. So I got back in it. Let's see. So I was in pre-market, then I got back in it, then I stopped out for a loss, then I got back in at 1850, which was right about, let's see, it must have been like right down here. And then I stopped out a second time for another loss. So then I was down like $1,500. And then I got back in and we got this quick squeeze, but I only got a partial fill. So I didn't make back everything I had lost. And then we got this little pullback here, but I didn't trade it well. I added at 21.98 for the break over 22. I sold at 22.48. And then I sold the rest as it came back down at 23.36. The high a day was 23.38. So, or no, I sold it was 23.36. So that was at the top. And then the high was 23. Let's see. Actually, that's pretty that's pretty awesome. I didn't realize I had such a sweet exit on that. That's right, but I was still holding 125 shares into the halt. It resumed and tanked all the way back down, and I ended up holding those shares as it came back down. I then tried to do a bottom bounce on it, and I'll switch over to the 10-second chart. And on that bottom bounce, I was too early. So let's bring this back here. All right, so we had this nice break of 22 right here. So this was a nice trade, squeeze up here, took some profit, was still holding into the halt. And then where I first tried to do the bottom bounce on this, let's see, it was 19, looks like it was 1943. So that was right around here. Yeah, so it was right here that I tried to do the first bottom bounce right here as it started to pop up, and then I stopped as it came back down, and then I was down $2,600. So I was like, gosh darn it, this one is killing me. And then it ended up doing a really nice bounce off the low, and I didn't take it. So BMRA in total, I made money, lost money, and I'm down $225 on it. You know, pre-market, I said, I was like, my goal today is to take, 3 to 5 trades, kind of get in, get out. Hopefully I can hit my daily goal in the first 30 minutes, and then I don't have to trade all day. Unfortunately, in the first 5 minutes, I was down basically $2,500. So right away I was like, okay, well, that kind of throws that plan out the window, because now, even if I have a couple of nice base hits, it's going to take a while to get back to green. So I obviously worked my way back, but today the way my P&L was, I was red, and then I was down 2,500 after BMRA. BURG was one that I traded. You can see right here I made $1,000 on that. So let's just go from the again, I have so many to go over. I don't know the best way to do it. Why don't we look at the worst, the biggest losers first, and then from there maybe I'll just make my way up the list. All right, so APDN was my biggest loser. I'm down 4,200 on it, and it was disappointing for sure. So this morning was crazy, and I'll say for those of you guys that are that have been kind of listening in for the last couple of weeks, what we're in right now in terms of the day-to-day trading is not. This is not a long sustained bear market. This right now is an extremely volatile market. When the market drops 30% in 2 weeks, you're in a very volatile market. And you could even say a crazy market. And we've seen crazy markets before. We saw a crazy market right in here. Now, this wasn't a bear market, it was just a crazy market, but it was definitely crazy. You go back a little further, we had a little crazy market here. You go back even further, we had crazy market here and here. So these are crazy markets. These are days where the number of stocks getting halted could fill a pretty long journal. I mean, it's just so many stocks getting halted, and that's a reflection of the level of volatility in the market. We didn't have a market-wide halt today, but we had a lot of halts on small cap and even medium and large cap stocks. So yesterday, the S&P, as you know, probably we had this sort of big gap down, the market sold off, and then bounced off the low. Today was actually an inside day. All of the price action was inside yesterday's high and low. I did still trade the S&P long. SPXL is buying the S&P leverage times 3. I made $4,700. Shorting the S&P, I lost $11. So I did better long on the S&P today than short. I also made $1,600 on the VIX, which is the volatility index. It did pull back today, but I made money buying the pullback right here and then buying this pullback right here. And these were some nice pretty easy trades for me. So VIX was okay into the close, and SPXL, this was trading the market long at a couple different points, but a couple nice trades there. So we also yesterday had BMRA, which made a huge move during the day, and then after hours continued going higher all the way from 10 to 11 to 12 to 13 to 14, $15, pulled back, and pre-market was continuing higher. What's really disappointing is that despite that really big move today, I wasn't able to get a good entry. And then because I missed my first entry when I took second trades, I was getting in too high, and it just sort of didn't trade it very well in general, which sometimes happens. And it wasn't a super easy one to trade because of how volatile it was. So that was BMRA. Yesterday we also had Blue Apron. Blue Apron, as you can see right here, from 6 up to 20 yesterday. It got me really good yesterday. Had a good size loss on it. And today I said that I'd rather get strangled with a Blue Apron than trade this stock again. I will not touch it again. And I stayed true to that, although this was an awesome bottom bounce right here. And honestly, I didn't see it because I told myself not to even look at it, but that was a nice bounce, really nice bounce there on APR. And actually, it looks like I did take a trade on it. So I don't even remember when that was, 15.25. Oh, that was right here. There was some news that came out on it in the afternoon. I forgot about that. It was halted going up. It resumed, hit a high of 15.67, and I did a trade with small share size. It's $157. But in any case, this one ended up being weak today. So this was weak today. BMRA was weak today. Pixie, another one from yesterday, also weak today. And so this morning, we kind of had a surge of momentum, and then all of a sudden everything rolled over at the same time. GES, this one got me right up here on this false breakout, squeezed up and then right back down. MYSZ, this trash garbage stock got me as well. I said, no, I'm not going to trade it here. And I said, no, I'm not going to trade it here. And then I finally got in on the break right here, and it hit a high of 85. I didn't sell. And then this candle, it dropped to 35. It was terrible. So I lost $3 grand on that. And APDN this morning, this was my trade on APDN where I lost quite a bit. So what I did here, it was squeezing up. I'd missed the whole move right here. And then as it was consolidating, I was like, okay, we've got a flat top breakout here. It's tapped 95 once, twice, came up for the third tap. And I was like, all right, I'm jumping in. Jumped in right here for the break of this level, looking for a quick break of 9 and then squeeze up to 910, 925. And in this candle, it dropped from 9, basically, back down to 8. And just like that. And this is a 10-second candle. I gave back. I was, at that point, deep red in the day. And it did bounce up here. I actually sold on the bounce rather than at the bottom. I was down about 8,000 at the very bottom. I sold as it bounced back up for a loss. And then I did take a bottom bounce on it. I don't remember which one it was. If it was this one here or this one here or this one. I don't remember which one it was. But I took one of those bottom bounces and went from down about 7,000 on the stock to down 4,200. So as you can see today, I started red and then I had, let's see. So I started red, then I went green on BURG. So BURG was, well, I didn't go green on the day, but I went red and then came back up a little bit on BURG. And then I went back down on, let's see, where was this? Rave, where is this one? Right here, $47 winner. Okay, so that one's nothing to really write home about. Then I had a trade on APDN and then way back down into the red. Then about bottom bounce on APDN, came back up a little bit. Elway hit our high day momentum scanner. I jumped into this one as it was squeezing up right here. It got halted at 213. It resumed at 220 and surged up to a high of 277. So that ended up being kind of a nice trade just for like a quick breakout, but it didn't hold. NBY, this was an interesting one today. So I actually traded this one on this break right here of $1.20, $1.17, and we got a nice squeeze, as you can see up here, to $1.55. In fact, at about 2 o'clock, I was still down $2,500, and I was like, well, I think today the way my P&L went, I was up 400 pre-market, and then I was down 1,500, and then I don't remember, I might have been down like 500, and then I had that terrible trade on APDN, and I was down 7,000, and my max loss I have set at 10,000. Actually, it's 11,000, but it's supposed to be at 10,000. And then I had another loss on MYSZ, and I was down $9,000. And then I had the bottom bounce on APDN, so I was down only 5. And then I had a couple of nice trades on JNUG and Elway, and I was actually down only about $100 on the day. And then I had the trades on GES, which was the one that was the false breakout, and I was back to down 1,200. Then I had a trade on Play, and I was back to down 2,400. And then I had the trade on Fran, and I guess this was 1020, and I was back to down just about $7,000. And from there, I switched gears and started focusing on the S&P 500, the VIX, and I got a couple other trades here and there. And now I'm up 1,600. So I went red to break even, to back to red, to back to break even, and now to green on the day. I would love it if tomorrow, in the first 30 minutes, I could make $1,600 and walk away. If I could do that after just one trade, that would be fantastic. The last few days, the problem has been either that I went green and then went red and was trying to get myself back to break even, or that I just went red right away and then I felt like, all right, I've got to keep digging. So one of the questions that you could always ask is, at what point do you walk away? I would say today, like I said before, I was much calmer about my trades. Even though I took a lot of trades, I didn't feel stressed. I wasn't angry. I was just like, well, I started the day red. Let's see if I can cut this loss. Before I knew it, I was down 5,000, 7,000. So I was like, well, let's see if I can cut this loss in half. Makes it not as bad of a day. So, a couple $300 winners, I'll cut the loss in half. And then next thing I knew, I was back to break even. And once I was back to break even, I was like, okay, well, now I'm seeing some momentum. I mean, I've just made $7,000. So I'm going to keep going. And then I was back to red, and I was like, maybe I should walk away now down 1,200. And then I took one more trade, and I was down 2,400. And I was like, should I walk away here? And then I took one more trade, and then I was, so I was like, it's not really great to have that happen. I think that as a beginner trader, when you're trading and you're learning a strategy, you have to stick within the rules of the strategy. It's really important, especially as a beginner trader, that you have the discipline to just, these are the setups I trade between $1 and $10, and this is my share size, and I either hit my profit target or, I stop out, or I'm at my max loss for the day, and that's it, I walk away. Days like this, when I was a beginner trader, would be almost impossible because I didn't have the level of experience to be able to switch gears and trade the S&P 500. I didn't have the level of experience to know how to trade a stock like Gilead, which is $85 a share. I wasn't at a place where I could sort of pull a different strategy out of my toolbox or whatever. But I can do that now. And some days it works and some days it doesn't. And, at the end of all of it, you could certainly ask, well, at what point is it better just to say, all right, it's 10 a.m., I'm down $7,000, I'm walking away. And I don't know the right answer to that. On a financial level of P&L, my P&L is better because I kept trading today. And on a emotional level, I feel, I suppose, a little bit exhausted because I've been trading since 9:30 and it's 4:30 now. But aside from that, I didn't get myself really angry today or anything like that. I didn't get super frustrated. I just, I went red and I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm red. This is today. The worst thing for me emotionally is when I have my daily goal and then I lose it. That makes me furious. And that's probably true with almost anyone. And that happened yesterday. And yesterday I was much more upset than I am today. Now, yesterday I actually finished the day up 3,000, 2,900. But I was still very angry at the end of the day because I was like, this day was a mess. I had my daily goal, and then what I did was I took too much share size on that last trade and gave back all my profit. I don't know if any of you guys go skiing or anything like that, but I've known so many skiers who, and I've done this, who say, all right, I'm going to take one more run. And you take that one last run and so let's give you an example. So this was like 2 years ago now. I went skiing and I was in the terrain park, and I hadn't been in the terrain park in a while, and I was getting in there and I was like, all right, I gotta like get good and comfortable, because I was thinking, I'm gonna have to, I want to be the cool dad. I want to be able to take my kid skiing and show him that I still know how to hit the jumps and do some tricks. So I better make sure I don't get rusty from, not being in the park the way I used to. So I was going through the park and going off the jumps and doing a couple rails and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do one last run. And the thing is, because the last couple runs I had taken were good, but they weren't like, I didn't hit every jump the way I wanted to, or I didn't do the trick the way I wanted to. And so I kind of had this line in my mind of how I wanted to do it. And so I was like, all right, this is the one. So I'm like going up the lift. I'm like, this is the one. I'm gonna crush this thing. And I went big, and I was actually on the last jump of the whole trail, which was the biggest jump. As I went off, I caught the tip of my ski on the front of the jump, because I started my trick too soon. And it threw me off balance, and I landed on my face from, I don't know, maybe 30 feet. And I lost consciousness. And when I woke up, I was like, what's hitting me in the face? And it was my own hand. And I kind of crawled, and I lost. It was crazy. I mean, it was pretty intense. So, and I've known a bunch of skiers that kind of have that same experience of, it's that last one where you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna get this like one last run in, and this is gonna be no big deal. It's gonna be fun. And next thing you know, you're coming down the mountain in the toboggan, and you've broken your leg, or you have a head injury, or whatever the case is. And with trading, it's honestly not that much different. That sometimes I'll have 5, 6, 7 good trades, and I'm like, I'm just gonna take one last trade. And I don't respect the risk of the market. I lose sight of the fact that one last trade with 4,000 shares, if it just rips, if it just drops 50 cents, all of a sudden like that, I'm gonna be down $2,000. And that's what happened yesterday. Yesterday I was up 2,500, and then I took a trade on SPXL, I was trying to time the bounce in the market. I thought the market, the S&P 500 was going to bounce, wherever that was. And just like that, I lost $2,400. And I was back to square one. And I was like, all my hard work of the day was gone. And then I immediately got into a second trade, emotionally impulsive. I chased it. I didn't wait for a pullback. And I lost another $2,000. And now just back to back like that, I totally screwed up my day. And that kind of happened a little bit today. I had the loss on APDN, and then I went right into another one. I don't remember which one it was. If it was, I'm trying to look at my APDN trades here. Yeah, so that was there, then I sold there, and then I went into the bottom bounce on BMRA at 19, stopped out at 18. So I was like, boom, boom, 2 big losses back to back. Yeah, it was nasty. It was really bad. So that's where things aren't really great. Again, I didn't get as emotional today, which is important because you need a clear mind to be able to see yourself out of a bad situation. If you're trying to see yourself out of a bad situation and you're emotionally fueled and you're raging and you're furious and you're like, I'm gonna throw this across the room, and I'm gonna break my phone and I'm gonna break my glasses because you're just so frustrated with the market, you can't trade well when you're in that place. That's when you just dig yourself deeper and deeper and deeper. But today I never really got to that level of emotional frustration. I don't know if I just felt defeated right away. So I was like, oh, well, this day sucks. So let's just see if I can make it suck a little less. I don't know. I never had the satisfaction of hitting my daily goal. So I do sometimes wonder if I should, enforce a rule like if I, it's a rule that I've kind of, an unspoken rule that I sometimes follow and sometimes don't, which is that if I give back more than a certain amount, I stop trading, after hitting my daily goal. The problem is, we've kind of been in like the wild west of the market right now because the market has been so crazy. We had these, let's just look at all the stocks that I traded today. We'll just look at the 5-minute chart and we'll look at the volatility. So this was SPXL from $20 to $23. This was Elway. This was JNUG. Look at JNUG. This is crazy. From $3.50 up to $6. Yesterday it was at 11. VIX from 76 down to 56, then back up to 66. BURG from $1.10 to $2 and then back down. NBY from 40 cents to $1.70. Gilead, super wild. Look at this whip, up to 86, then down to 78, $6-7 per share whip. Rave, this one didn't do a whole lot. SPXS, short the S&P 500. Nugget, NUGT, gold. BCRX, $1.80 to $2.45, then back down. MRNA, oh my gosh, we didn't even talk about MNRA. MNRA, I lost 124 on it. I tried to do a bottom bounce, and one was the winner and one was the loser. But look at that drop from 34 to 25. BMRA, we already talked about that one. SVXY, it's the inverse of the VIX. GES, from 550 to 11, back down to 8. Play. Dave & Buster's, from 550 to 950. Fran, this was more of a pop and drop fake out. MYSZ, another fake out. And then APDN. And those are just the stocks that I traded. There were probably 50 others, or maybe even hundreds of others, that were equally as volatile. So it's kind of the Wild West right now, and it sort of feels like a market where the typical strategy that I trade has been a little harder because sometimes we see stocks move so quickly that they just totally go without you, and if you're not aggressive about jumping in on a quick pullback, like a micro pullback, you miss the whole thing. because the overall market, the VIX, the S&P, SPXL, SPXS have been so volatile. It's been sort of creating side opportunities, which has been working out really well for me. But, I've also had a couple small cap trades. It's just been a crazy market. That's really all you can call it. This isn't bear market, it's crazy market. It'll be a bear market, I would say 3 months from now, when we're still not at the highs and we're just consolidating, and just sort of trending down slowly. That would be more of a sustained bear market. This is more of a sustained bull market, but then we get these crazy periods. So we'd have to go way back here, all the way back to 2007. Honestly, this right here was more of a sustained pullback through this area that began in 2007, where the market kind of topped out and just kind of gradually came back down. This is fun. This is easy stuff to trade in. That's easy. This right here, this gets a little crazy, these types of drops. Then it kind of stabilizes a little bit, sort of whatever, no big deal, and then kind of starts actually coming back up. But it's really these little periods that are very volatile, very difficult to trade, and that's even for experienced traders. And there are certainly some traders out there who have the money to be able to either, on the one hand, sit out of the market and say, I'm not going to risk taking losses, or on the other hand, can buy their way in or out of a trade, which is to say that on something like the SPXL, if you get in it and you're wrong at first, but you have $1 million account, well, you can always just buy more, So there's a lot of traders with big accounts that kind of take that approach, and it's not one that really works for most traders with small accounts. And even for me, I can only buy so many shares of this. So, if it doesn't work right away, I usually have to cut my loss. I can't average down. And that's not a strategy that typically is a smart one, but sometimes people that have a lot of money can, they can kind of get away with that. So these markets are challenging, but I think that there's an opportunity here to learn. And I think that there are certainly some people maybe who are a little bit more gunslingers who might be making some good money in these markets. But then, of course, you have to think about what happens when the market does stabilize. I think it's more important to have a strategy for relatively stable markets, which is what we're in the majority of the time, than to have strategies that depend on the S&P 500 going up or down 5% in one day. Because that happens so infrequently that you'd be better off not even worrying about developing a strategy for it than making that your exclusive strategy. I'm hopeful that maybe we start to base out here a little bit off the lows of the S&P. We may not, but I hope that things start to stabilize a little bit more. Today felt in some ways a little crazier because we had those big moves at the open, and then all of those stocks rolled over at the same time. Yesterday, we're not there yet. So anyways, this is where I'm at here today. Not a great day for me, but I'm trying to keep my head above water this month, and I'm definitely churning a lot of shares and taking a lot of trades. I had a couple days earlier in the month that were really nice, and the first 4 days were red, but then I got into a nice little streak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green days. That was nice. Then I had that red day on Monday, green yesterday, and now today I'm up 1,600. But when the dust settles with all my commissions for the day, I don't know where I'm going to be at. I can't imagine I'll be green. My commissions today are going to be through the roof. I traded 20 different stocks. But, when I import my trades at the end of the month into Trade Review, that'll have the gross profit, the net profit after commissions, and we'll look at where everything settles. Right now, we still have 5, 6, 7, 8 days left in the month. So 8 days left, and we're definitely seeing a lot of opportunity. It's just a little hard to know which is going to be the one to jump on. Be very interested to see if this NBY continues the move Looks like it hit a high there of $1.79. I mean, this is the type of stock that on the one hand just looks like tomorrow morning I'm going to open up my computer and I'm going to see it's at $2.50 or $3 and I'm going to be like, why didn't I just buy 5,000 shares and hold it overnight? But when you have a stock that is up 447%, what kind of risk do you have? You have a risk that they put out a secondary offering, right? To try to raise more money. You have risk that they put out news that they can't really account for this type of move in the stock. I mean, they did have a headline, but it was, I mean, I don't think it warrants this type of move. So you can't really buy a stock and hold it overnight that's up 400%. But tomorrow, if it's on the scanners, I'll look for some opportunities and see if I can maybe take a couple trades. So anyways, that's it for me. $1,600 today. We'll see where everything is tomorrow. Hopefully we have some good stocks on the gap scanner and we can finish up this week. Is tomorrow Friday? Wow. Try to finish up this week with just 30 minutes of trading. And then I can be done early. That's my goal tomorrow. It was my goal today and it's still gonna be my goal tomorrow. Hopefully I don't start with a red trade on my very first trade. All right, see you guys in the morning. Hey, it's me again. The most popular video on day trading on YouTube was made by me. You can check it out below if you haven't already. And as always, if you have questions, leave them in the comments. I personally respond to every question that's posted on my channel.